Leslie-san. So I got a question from a viewer asking me about what I find the difference is between the vegan options in Australia versus the vegan options in the US. So to give you a bit of context about where I've lived, I was living in Sydney for about 28 years, and then I moved to the US recently, and I have visited the US a number of times, and I have stayed in the US at least 2 months, more than 2 months. So I'm aware of all the vegan options in the US, but I'll compare the main places that I used to shop at in Australia and the places that I shop at here. So in Australia, I used to shop at Coles and Woolworths. Those are the main grocery stores. And I'd also go to Fresh World or Martelli's and get fresh produce from there as well. And there's also some Asian stores in Australia where I might get more specialty stuff. In the US, the main place I've been going to is Winco. We go there quite often, and we also have a Walmart 2.5 miles from our house. So we go there sometimes as well. But the main place we shop at in the US is Winco because it's quite a big store. It's got a very large variety of food, both fresh produce and frozen foods and cereals and other normal stuff that you'd find at a grocery store. So in terms of fresh produce like fruits and veggies, I find that the range is quite similar for both countries, at least where I used to shop in Australia and in the US. The only main difference that I find is that in the US, fruit tends to be a little bit cheaper even when you convert the dollar. And also in the US, there's no nice mangoes. At least I haven't experienced any nice mangoes. In Australia, the mangoes that we have in Sydney in summer are from Queensland, I think, or Darwin. So we get some really nice tropical fruit from the northern Australia. And in the US, I think the mangoes are imported from Mexico. I'm not really sure, but I really like the Australian mangoes versus the ones that I've had in the US. So if you can recommend any places that sell good mango in the US during summer or even in winter, I know that the US tends to import a lot, but if you have any recommendations, let me know. But that's the main difference that I find with the fruit. In the US, I found that there's a lot of smoothie varieties. If you want to buy store-bought smoothies, you've got Odwalla and Naked. In Australia, we have other brands, but it's not like I really used to look at smoothie brands. But I think it's just a difference with the brands, not the variety. I think you just have to look for it. And with herbs and spices, the usual range in both places, I find that with vegan specialty stuff like vegan oyster sauce or vegan fish sauce, you might have to look online both in the US and in Australia. And in Australia, I would buy the fish sauce and oyster sauce online and get it vegan. So you don't usually find vegan oyster sauce or vegan fish sauce in the store in Australia, and I haven't found any in the US either. But maybe in another store besides Winco or Walmart, you might find vegan fish sauce or vegan oyster sauce. So more specialty items like that, you might have to buy online. In Australia, in Coles, they've been recently expanding their alternative dairy range. So I found vegan white chocolate and vegan chocolate in the health food section of Coles. And in America, at Winco, I haven't found any dairy-free chocolate. I haven't looked that hard for it, but I don't think they have it. I think it's something that you'd have to buy online in the US. Also with cheeses, Coles has started expanding their range. So they now sell bio cheese and this other sliced cheese that's vegan. And that's quite recent. In the US, I think they've had vegan cheeses for longer and there's more variety of them. At Winco, I thought I saw a Daiya cheese before, but it's not there anymore. However, I did see Go Veggie, and I don't recommend that brand because it was pretty gross. But In terms of vegan cheeses, you can find them in both supermarkets. You just have to look for it. And you might have to request it because not every Coles supermarket or Winco might have what you're looking for. In terms of vegan ice cream, at Coles, they've got the brand Weiss. So they've got Weiss sorbets and also a brand called So Good. And they sell soy ice cream. And I haven't tried that yet, but I know that they sell that amongst all the dairy ice creams. In the US, we've got brands like So Delicious, and Ben & Jerry's has recently got a vegan product, but I haven't seen the vegan product in Winco or Walmart yet. But they do have So Delicious, and Winco is stocking a few So Delicious items. Kenny and I recently got these ice cream sandwich bars that are vegan, and it's So Delicious brand from Winco. And we also got a little tub of coconut milk ice cream, cookie dough flavored. The range of ice cream is a little different for vegan options. Like in America, I think there's more variety, and in Australia, there's more sorbets. They've got the wheat sorbets there, but in the US, I haven't seen a vegan sorbet yet. But I haven't looked that hard for it, so they probably do have some vegan sorbets here. And then with the vegan meats, there's just different brands in Australia versus the US. I think I prefer the US brand of Gardein more. So Gardein has this whole wide variety of vegan meats like vegan fish fillets, vegan chicken, mandarin chicken. They've got Boca brand burgers and chicken nuggets. There's Morningstar chicken nuggets. I think they are vegan. And there's other brands as well that I don't remember, but those are the main two brands that I've seen in Winco. And in Coles in Australia and in Woolworths, we don't find those brands because they're US brands, but we do have other brands. So in Coles, I've seen a brand called Go Veggie, and they sell some vegan chicken as well as some other vegan frozen foods that aren't necessarily fake meat, but they're just vegan frozen foods. And in Woolworths, I've seen some pies that are vegan by Linda McCartney and sausage rolls that are vegan, and I haven't seen them in the US. So there's still a variety of food for vegan meats in Australia and in the US, but they're just a bit different. And the other thing that I've seen at Coles is a brand of vegan gyoza. So they sell a prawn gyoza, and they also have their own brand of Coles gyoza that's vegan. So I used to buy that a few times when I was in Australia, and I'd add it to soup noodles. But in the US, I think you'd have to buy it online or go to an Asian store and check out whether they have vegan gyozas. For other products like mayonnaise that's vegan, I haven't seen any in Australia that are vegan, but in the US there's Vegenaise at Winco. They've been selling Vegenaise, and we have a bottle of that, and we use it to make Big Macs that are vegan. I hope that this video was helpful. If you have an experience with living in Australia and the US, or even just going on holiday and seeing the difference, let me know what you find the main differences to be. For eating out, I find that the US tends to have more, well, the US tends to have more fast food, but both places you can request to make something vegan, and I guess it just depends where you go. So that's my experience, and I hope that helped you, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.